Okay. Some faces I know, others I will know. Online students. Kanamika, Anusha, Pragya, Ronak, Shilpi, Shishti, okay. And Shilpi also. Syomyadeep, Shruti, Vaibhav, Kanika. Fine, all of you. Good afternoon, good evening. Yes, all of you. Hi. Shivani, Chaudhary, Debarga. ऐसा क्यों Debarga? If you enroll, you'll have a link on the dashboard. Otherwise, leave a message. Sachrit. Okay, some of you are from the regular class also. ठीक है. So we had one session a couple of days ago. Unfortunately, all the mishaps that we had to postpone the sessions. We're starting about 10 days later. No worries, we'll make up. Some scheduling change कराएंगे हम लोग. So your advanced course GS in that sense starts today after the first session we had, and we are starting with geography and environment. Now a couple of things, all of you, as a part of setting expectations, okay? What should your expectations be and what should my expectations be? Your expectations, you can expect me to help you revise, add content, some discussions on PYQ, not all of them, but some, and some bit of answer writing. Okay, that's your legitimate expectation. I'll help you revise, but वही है कि revision will be very selective. Okay, okay, Debarga. It could have been a miss. You let us know. I will tell the team to look it up. So revision करेंगे हम, but don't expect 100%. One. Number two, I will move at a good pace. Some of you, my students, you know what I mean by a good pace. Okay, so you'll have to keep pace with me. So my expectation is you have to be very alert, come with your revision done, at least dekh ke aana notes. And my expectation is that you have to do your assignments. Okay? And when I say having done revisions, I expect you would have done three things. Your class notes are ready. You should have done your summary, and you should have seen the PYQs. If you come entirely blank, I cannot do much. Okay, this is a session getting you ready for the examination. I cannot treat you like your first timers. I'm expecting आपने पढ़ा है, you have done your geography, you have done environment or history, whatever we have. And now we will round the whole course up. So my expectation is your notes are there with you. Synopsis, summary writing, whatever you have done. अगर 100% भी नहीं है, you must have a fair coverage of your summarizations done. Plus, have a look at the PYQs. कि सवाल कैसे पूछा जा रहा है. See, as teachers, when we are preparing for the class, we have nobody else to ask, but research the syllabus, we research the PYQs. Syllabus is known to us. Features, changes, location factors, the distribution of whatever syllabus, I think last time we made you write something. And the second very important guide is the PYQs. So if you have the PYQs, understanding kab pucha, kya pucha, okay, then you are, in the game. Okay, we are live on the YouTube. Reason being, like I said, I want to initiate the process, demonstrate what we are doing, and at least some of you will know what is revision, what it takes to consolidate. आपको idea हो जाए, उसके बाद आपकी मर्जी है, आप you can join, otherwise you manage on your own. ठीक है? So, and to the class, it'll be nice if you bring your notes also or summaries also. So when I'm speaking, you are mentally recalling. When you're speaking, you must jot down. Nothing that I say should go without jotting it down. आप लिखते रहें उसको. Okay, end of the session, okay, you should have seen through bulk of the content. अच्छा. Timing, official timing is 4 to 6. But allow me the freedom to extend if required. Because if I stick to 2 hours, I do not know how much I can complete. Okay, so be okay. And if you have to leave, you can leave, no problem. Jo bhi kaam waam hai jaye. And you can look at the notes of your friends or whatever you can do. You are doing foundation. Soumya, you have not done geography yet, right? Then this will not be the right class for you. Then you join from the topics you have completed. Some of you have, so a sequence of advanced course will be, I'll start with geography and environment. Then we'll move on towards history. Then we'll move on towards economy. Uske baad polity hoga. Okay, so if you join now, you're doing it from here. Okay, some of you have not done this, you have done this. Then you start from here. Ultimately, geography bhi baad mein hum add kara denge. It's like a relay running on. Okay, so some of you have not done history, you have done economy, then join me from economy. Either ways, all the iterations are complete by December. Then okay, fine, Soumya. If you have done it on your own, you're welcome to be part of it, no problem. Okay. Now, one important cue for recalling and writing is, remember this. Okay, I call it as we the people of India, world and society. Okay, याद रहेगा आपको? We, the को मैंने D people, I'm trying to be the Gen Z. The people of India, world and society. Okay, so geography mein there are a lot of terms: forests, winds, resources, mountains, coral reefs, trade, transport, ports, railways. This W stands for what? What is it? Okay, you should be able to write down at least 2-3 lines on what is it. Say something on local winds. Tell me what are local winds. Achha. This is, give examples. What is it? Give examples. Okay. This is about distribution. The where aspects. कहाँ मिलता है? This is properties. Okay. Properties बोलो, characteristics बोलो. Okay. L related to something अगर life form से related है. Forests life form, corals life form, wildlife life form. Okay. Most things somewhere अगर link होता है तो I is India, W is the world and S is significance. You'll find most questions इस pattern में fit हो जाता है. Say if I ask you, talk about the importance of railways, एक question था. Railways in in history or whatever. What is it? Railways are a mode of communication. Railways have been important connectivity medium in long distance travel. Examples, transcontinental railways in Australia, in Canada, in Tanzania, in Siberia. Okay. Distribution map बना के, ये D में distribution के साथ में आप map बना सकते हो. Okay, some diagram भी बना सकते हो. Tell us where they are. Properties, there are goods trains, there are passenger trains, they are short gauge, they are narrow gauge, there's a broad gauge. Railways include even metro connectivity. Okay, so properties and types. Life forms इस case में important नहीं है. Okay, but India में, tell me what are the railways if you want to say. Indian Railway may be Bombay Thane Railway. 1800s में शुरू हुआ था, beginnings of the colonial exploitation. And world में some examples. You'll find many questions में we the people of India, world and society will be a very nice cue for remembering a lot of content. One problem students face is उनको पता होता है, but they have a problem. Number one, recall नहीं होगा fast. Second, recall हो भी जाए, structure नहीं बनता. So all of you remember this as a recall cue. This is for a recall, is a recall hint, recall cue, and this also can be basis of structuring an answer. This is not the only one. I'll give you some more. There are 10-15 such cues for you to recall. But अभी जो पढ़ाएंगे इसमें I mean mentally सोचो आप. So if I ask you earthquakes, fit होगा इसमें? What are earthquakes? Examples of earthquakes. Where do we have earthquakes? Draw a map. Okay. Properties of earthquakes. Violent earthquake. Okay. Richter scale. Not violent earthquakes. Earthquakes under the sea. Earthquakes on the land. Earthquakes related to volcanism. Earthquakes related to faults. Life forms again इसमें नहीं आएगा. इंडिया में बताओ earthquakes कहाँ कहाँ हुआ है, कुछ वर्ल्ड का बता दो. And significance. Earthquakes, geophysical process, convergence, collision, volcanism. Earthquakes are important aspects of any tectonic event. Answer is done. Think of mountains. What are the mountains? Examples of mountains. Types and distribution. Okay, Himalayas, Alps, fold mountains, faults, undersea mountains. Okay, properties बताओ. Volcanic mountain है तो क्या property है? अगर fold mountain है तो क्या property है? अगर faults हैं, block mountains हैं तो क्या properties हैं? Life forms, yes, there is an altitudinal variation of climate. There is an altitudinal variation of biomes and vegetation. Okay, some of the mountains are important hotspots of biodiversity. Western Ghats. India में mountains बता दो, world के बता दो. Significance, mountains and climate, mountains and resources, mountains and biodiversity, mountains and glaciers. You're on there. Okay, say ask ocean currents. डालो इसमें फिर से. What are ocean currents? Examples of ocean currents. Distribution, map बता दो. Properties, cold current, warm current, saline current, okay, less saline current, deep water current, surface currents. Life forms, yes, absolutely. Currents impact, okay, there is distribution of marine biota, formation of coral reefs, if any. Okay, they do impact the fishing zones. Indian currents, Indian Ocean वाले, world currents, क्या significance है? So you'll find this is a very good cue for recalling most of the geographical topics. ठीक है, तो आप याद रखेंगे इसको. And I discuss, we'll move on there. All good? So that's one. Number two. Now I'm starting with geomorphology. You will write, you will not listen to me. Okay. आप लिखेंगे as I speak. Don't simply nod your heads. You will write down as I'm speaking. Okay. So, thematic wise, first is interiors of Earth. Interiors of Earth. Okay. Broadly, of 5 layers. There is a crust, there is a mantle, there is inner outer core or crust ही. Okay. There is continents, there is oceans. You keep drawing as I speak. Okay. The first point of the interiors of Earth is there are 5 broad layers. Okay. Continents, oceans, there is mantle, there is outer core, there is inner core. Continents पे and oceans पे. Okay. Thickness, density, type of rocks. Okay. Type of rocks. Talk about the pH value. So continent thickness, 30, 60 kilometers or even more. Density, 2.5. Okay. Rocks, andesite rocks, granite rocks, keep writing. Okay. Andesite rocks, granite rocks, diorite rocks. Okay. Metamorphic rocks, sedimentary rocks. pH value. Continents are acidic. Oceans. Thickness about 1 kilometer. It can be as much as 3 also. They are thinner. Oceans are thinner. Density of oceans around 3.5 of the oceans. Rocks, basalt rocks. Basalt and basalt metamorphosed. Okay. But yaad rahe, oceans do not have metamorphic, they don't have sedimentary rocks. The oceanic rocks hain, basalt rocks, they do not have sedimentary rocks. They can have sediments. Okay, but for sedimentary rocks, they need to have pressure. Okay, they need lot of accumulations. They need great depth. So, oceans के crust पे जो basalt है, उस पे sedimentary rocks नहीं होते हैं. Okay, and the pH value, this is basic. Okay. The distinction between the continents and the ocean का layer जो है, is called as the Moho discontinuity. Keep writing. The Moho discontinuity. The mantle is 3 layers. There is an upper mantle up to around 350 or 400 kilometers. There is a middle mantle up to 700-800 kilometers. And you have the deep mantle and the outer crust का boundary जो है approximately 2900 kilometers from the surface, and the outer inner core का boundary is 4800 kilometers from the surface. Okay. The mantle, the upper part of the mantle, okay, this is a layer called as asthenosphere. There is an upper part, sorry. Upper part is, sorry. The upper part is part of lithosphere. The upper part है up to 100 तक, it is part of lithosphere. The lower part है, this is asthenosphere. And the lithosphere, it floats over the asthenosphere. Asthenosphere का main composition क्या है? Olivine minerals. Okay. Then the middle mantle, not much to add. The inner mantle. Middle mantle and inner mantle. Now, inner mantle is very dense. Inner mantle has ultramafic rocks. Inner mantle is source of deep earthquakes. It's source of a deep volcanism called as hotspots. Source of deep earthquakes, source of deep volcanism called as hotspots. Okay. And what separates inner mantle from outer core is Gutenberg a discontinuity. Gutenberg, Gutenberg discontinuity. The outer core is fluid. It has silicate matter. Outer core fluid, silicate matter, and outer core is mobile. Temperatures of around 3000, 4000 centigrade. It's mobile. The inner core is solid, iron and nickel. Inner core का density more than 13 है. The outer core का density 11 है. Outer core density 11, inner core density is around 13, 13.5. And the arrangement, inner core solid, iron rich. The outer core is mobile with mobile electrons. This arrangement is responsible for Earth's geomagnetism. Responsible for Earth's geomagnetism. अब सच बताओ, how many of you knew these facts by hearted? Yeah, no mistakes? This is the level, very nice. This is the level we want you in recall. Otherwise, now you'll be groping. मैं कितना भी पढ़ा लेना है, you'll always struggle. तो कोई बात नहीं, you be with me and I'll cover this like this and I'll be fast. ये पढ़ाने के लिए in the class I'll take maybe 45 minutes. Okay, and I'll do this in 5 minutes, 6 minutes and you'll recall. ठीक है? So, ocean, crust, upper mantle, properties of ocean and the continents are separate. What is more discontinuity? What is, okay, asthenosphere, lithosphere, middle mantle, inner mantle, okay, outer core, inner core, and the properties. Say I frame a question like, अब question लिखो आप. Say a question like, explain how the interiors of Earth, explain how the interiors of Earth directly or indirectly, interiors of Earth is directly or indirectly associated with the phenomena and the features of the Earth's surface and Earth as a planet. How the interiors of Earth is directly or indirectly associated with the features and phenomena of the Earth's surface and that of Earth as a planet. तो बेटा इस क्वेश्चन में ये तो जानना ही पड़ेगा. Okay. पूछा नहीं है आपको, but without knowing the interiors, you'll always have a struggle. अब बताना है कि interiors of Earth, how does it shape the features of the Earth's surface and that of the planet itself. ठीक है? So watch. So I will give you now answer क्या होगा बाद में है, but again answer ना, I can come back here. What are the features? Examples of features. Pattern बताओ कहां पर क्या features हैं. Okay. Properties क्या हैं? I can map it here with the interiors of Earth. Life forms I can bring in definitely, because you know volcanism is one of the very important reasons why life evolved on Earth. जहां volcanism होता है, you have got lot of carbon dioxide, you have got sulfur, you have got phosphorus, and that's where the beginnings of life happened. I can match, I can लिख, अगर पता है तो लिख लेंगे हम. इंडिया के फीचर्स बताओ, वर्ल्ड का बताओ, and significance you're on. ठीक है? So that's an answer writing. Now come back to our discussion here. So I'll give you like a table. So what are the features of the earth, surface ka and that of the planet itself, and how I am linking it with the interiors of the earth. Okay? So look at the features I'm telling you. The answer nahi hai, I'm giving you the list here. First, volcanism is related to the magma formation of interiors. And the magma can be from the asthenosphere, the magma can be from the deep mantle. Okay. The nature of the surface of the earth, okay, continents hain ya oceans hain, this is again related to the internal, okay, dynamism and the associated events of plate tectonics. The oceans bante hain, it's because of plate tectonics. The continents bante hain, it's also because of plate tectonics. Okay, so if you know a bit of optional, you can add, otherwise GS may don't go too deep. Achha. The third, major events like earthquakes, like tsunamis, okay, or the faults, they're associated with mantle dynamism and convection currents. Mantle dynamism and convection currents. Okay. A feature called as trench is because of collision boundaries and subductions. There are islands, there are volcanic islands like Hawaiian Islands, okay, like Mauritius. They're associated with hotspots. Hotspots, the source of volcano is the deep mantle. Keep writing as I speak. I will be fast, but that's how we move. Okay? So volcanic islands, example ke saath mein, because of lava coming from deep mantle, we call those as hotspots. Trenches because of collision boundaries. Okay, OC collision or even OO collision. Achha. Fifth one. Fifth one. A very important feature, say mountains, the fold mountains, associated with, okay, plate movements. And plate movements because of convection currents of the mantle. So CC collision, OC collision can create fold mountains. Okay. The sixth one, volcanism. Whether it is basaltic volcanism or andesite volcanism, again the lava from the interiors of earth. Geomagnetism. I have said about the earth and the planet. It's because of the core. The inner core, which is solid, iron rich, the outer core, which is fluid. The atmosphere. The atmosphere, because of volcanism. जो gases हैं हमारे, be it nitrogen gases, compounds, be it sulfur, compounds, NOx, SOx, be it carbon dioxide, okay, all of these have come from even water vapor. Water vapor also has come from volcanic eruptions of the interiors. ये आपका मेन कंटेंट है, एंड इसमें यू कैन गो टू एनी डेप्थ यू वांट टू गो इनटू, दैट्स योर चॉइस, बट इतना तो दिखना चाहिए ना. द फीचर्स ऑफ द अर्थ सरफेस, वोल्केनिज्म, earthquakes, oceans, continents, islands, trenches. In fact, I could have added very specifically a very important feature called as mores. Mores at divergent boundaries. Okay, mores associated with basaltic lava on the ocean floor. Okay, so even if you touch the points, you have got 7-8 points with you. Now look at the answer. अब answer कैसे लिखा जाता है? Answer में we all know there is an intro, there is, try putting some diagrams if you can. There is a body dimension 1, dimension 2, dimension 3, dimension 4, and you have conclusions. Although in GS, because the words are lesser, the time is more tight, the structure need not be very, very pure structure. Okay, but you must have some pattern, more or less. So, introduction, a very simple one is talk about the what. Okay, so Earth's diversity, its oceans, continents, its physical features like mountains, volcanism, even the atmosphere and its creation, the ocean floor are all associated with the dynamism of the interiors. Okay? The Earth's diversity, its oceans, its continents, its physical features like fold mountains, like volcanoes, the atmosphere also, maybe origin of life agar add karna hai, the oceans, okay, they are all associated with the dynamism of the interiors. Okay, you can, ab is table ka ek condensed form yahan de dena. I always encourage this, that in your answer, in the initial half page mein, give an impression कि आपको content पता है. Okay, so very quickly, examples of features and what are the phenomena associated. Okay, 5-6 point लिख डालो, 1, 2, 3, 4, because see in the answer आप इस सारा 9 नहीं लिख पाओगे. In the body you can only write on 4-5 of them. You decide कौन सा 4-5 आप touch करना चाहोगे. If I was in your place, I'll say कि more तो लिखूंगा मैं, atmosphere भी लिखूंगा मैं. Like I will discuss volcanism, or maybe volcanism more को combine कर देंगे हम. I will write about mountains, I will write down. Maybe trench वगैरह इतना important नहीं है, मैं box में ही छोड़ देता हूँ. So you decide. What do you want to, the examiner while seeing, he says, he knows so many things. This phenomena, because of this aspect of interiors. ये आपने map कर दिया. 5-6, so trenches डाल दिया, mountain का नाम डाल दिया. And now body, heading, okay. Features of the Earth's surface and its relationship with Earth's interiors. And number 1, let me discuss volcanism in detail. Let me discuss a fold mountain a bit more detail. मतलब है 3-4 लाइन से बताओ. Fold mountains are 4-5 लाइन बताओ. Collision होता है, Andean type है, Himalayan type है. Sedimentary rocks of the oceans are uplifted because of plate collisions. Okay. I think a very interesting fact is atmosphere, जो बाकी लोग शायद मिस कर जाएं. I think a very important thing is geomagnetism. ये शायद मिस कर जाएं. Okay. Life is a very important aspect. So out of 9-10 points, 5-6 मैंने यहाँ डाल दिया. I've showed कि look, I know the topics. Detail यहाँ कर दिया. And while detailing this, I always mention examples. I give examples. And the answer, okay, conclusion. Conclusion के ना 2-3 rules हैं. One conclusion is summarize जो लिखा है आपने. The summary का best way is add the word therefore, hence, और जो बोलना है बोलो. Therefore, the above diversity, okay, is an illustration of how entire earth is a consequence of dynamism of the interiors. Therefore, to understand lot of diversity and phenomena, and to understand disasters like earthquakes, landslides, volcanism, we must understand the dynamism of the interiors. So, therefore, लगाकर जो कहना है कहो. And you can always bring in some applied aspect. जैसे कि one applied aspect in this acid is to understand disasters and their interventions, I must know interiors of the earth. Like applied aspect. Lot of resources are because of interiors of the earth. Coal resources, type of rocks, resources, okay. Like ये जो rare earth elements हो गए, they are because of interiors of earth. Okay. So one type of conclusion I said is summarize. जो कहना चाह रहे तो summarize कर दो. Second is applied वाला. And applied में Indian example डाल देना. Lot of resources like coal of India, like iron ore of India, okay, are associated with tectonics or something of the interiors. All good here? Okay. We move on. Next. Write the question down. The question is, why are earthquake evidences, why are earthquake or seismic evidences most reliable? Why are earthquake or seismic evidences most reliable in the study of interiors of earth? In the study of interiors of earth. ठीक है? Why are they most reliable? Now see, this question is very clear. I'm not asking you, tell me what are the evidences and how earthquakes are the evidence. मैं पूछ रहा हूं कि बताओ earthquakes ज़्यादा reliable क्यों हैं? Right? Why are they more dependable evidence? Why are they the best evidence? I want that discussion. And of course, while discussing this, reliable क्यों है, you must tell me what they tell us. The question is there. So you must know the entire range. What are the evidences of Earth's interiors? कुछ जानते हैं आप लोग? Interiors के evidences क्या हैं? A study of asteroids, a study of meteoroids. Evidence includes study of volcanic rocks. It includes a study of rocks in the mines, study of rocks or material extracted during oil drilling. We have evidences like, evidence like density studies. You can compare densities of the earth, and one of them is the earthquake or seismic evidences. Yeah, ठीक है. ये evidences के क्या problems हैं? What are the problems of evidences? If I list down, density evidences, they largely can tell me averages. On an average, what is Earth's density? On an average, what is ocean density? On the average, what is the continent density? Density studies cannot tell us details of the internal layerings. Okay, layerings detail में नहीं बता पाएंगी. किस layer में क्या है? They cannot tell us. Okay, one. जो mines वाले हैं, they are very superficial. And that too where mines can be dug. Okay, most mining happens within 2-3 kilometers of the surface. The deepest mines barely go for 2-3 kilometers. And ocean drilling can go to maybe 10 kilometers, where जहां पर oil होगा. But Earth is 6400 kilometers का radius. We can barely study the first few superficial layers. So mines reliable, और वो भी, we don't have mines everywhere. Mines are in select locations. So mines actually do not tell us about the details of the deep interiors. Achha. What are the problems of study of asteroids or meteoroids? Definitely, asteroids, meteoroids, they share the story of Earth's origin. There will be a lot of commonalities of what type of rocks, what type of minerals. Okay, but three things. Earth's composition is not necessarily the composition of the asteroids. Asteroid rocks hain. And I am concerned about studying the entire planet. So asteroid composition is not necessarily same as that of Earth. They can give me some indication of origin of Earth, but not pura composition or layering. Okay. One. Number two, asteroids are also modified. As they burn through the atmosphere, they get modified. As they move in the space, they get modified. So I can't even rely on asteroids. Okay. And the third aspect is, asteroids themselves vary. There's a lot of diversity in the types and composition of asteroids. Okay? So while they can be in sight, but you can't rely on those. Achha. Volcanism. So volcanism is a good evidence. Volcanism is a good evidence. But volcanic rocks are transformed rocks. They are igneous metamorphosed rocks. They are igneous rocks. वो transformation हो चुका है. They cannot tell us about the nature of the source rocks. We can't be confirmed about the nature of the source rocks. Volcanism are not confirmatory about the layering of rocks. हमें पता ही नहीं कहां से आ रहा है. Not confirmatory about the layering of the rocks. So it's a good evidence, but on its own, it cannot tell us about the details of the interiors. Okay. Now, what are the evidences of, or what is the merit of seismic evidences? So, seismic waves जो हैं, they pass through the body of the earth, through the layers, through all the rock types. Okay. The behavior of seismic rocks, or the seismic waves, the behavior of the seismic waves have one-on-one correspondence with the type of rocks through which they move. इसमें कोई duplication नहीं होगा. The behavior in granite is not same as behavior in basalt. There is one-on-one correspondence of their property and the nature of rock they move through. उसके अलावा seismic rock जो है ना, or seismic evidences, they can be confirmed and they are replicable. They can be confirmed because आप वो repeat में आप study कर सकते हो. One area can have series of earthquakes. अब बार-बार वहां से आपको वही मिलेगा आपको. So they can help us confirm. They tell us about the interiors because they pass through the body. There's one-on-one relationship in the properties. And third is, okay, that they can be confirmed and reconfirmed. Okay. seismic activity can be mapped for the whole world. They can map for the whole world. So हर direction में आप पढ़ सकते हो seismic. Seismic evidences can tell us about the rock composition. They can tell us about the thickness of the layers, rock composition, thickness of layers, and they can tell us about the phase of the layers. Liquid phase में है, solid phase में है, semi-molten phase में है. Our world में seismic studies are fairly advanced today. The instruments, the technologies are very advanced. बना आंसर आपका? I hope you saw the difference between what you would have written. अगर आप सिर्फ लिख के आ जाते, what layer tells us what, वो तो हम करेंगे बाद में. But I'm asking you, tell us why seismic evidences are the most reliable ones. What is it that they can tell us? Other evidence don't tell us. Now you must know. Okay, there is a granitic layer of the continents. There are a deeper lithospheric layers of the lithosphere. There is an asthenosphere layer. There are layers of the middle and a deep mantle. There is the outer core and there is an inner core. अब आपको बता देना पड़ेगा for each of the layers, how do the earthquake waves behave? आंसर लिखने के टाइम में यू कांट बी ग्रोपिंग फॉर कि कंटेंट याद नहीं आ रहा. कंटेंट आपके पास होना चाहिए एंड देन विल प्ले विथ इट. इन योर क्लास नोट्स इस फॉर्म में नहीं होगा. ओके, इन द क्लास नोट्स वो डिस्कशन डिटेल होगा. सो पुट इट नाउ इन द ग्रेनाइटिक लेयर्स we have the P waves and S waves. They're called as pre-granitic waves, S granitic waves. The velocities of these waves are very less, generally around 5 or 6 kilometers per second के range में होता है. As they go deep into the mantle, into the lithosphere, the P and the S waves, they increase in velocity, implying increase in density of the rocks. In the asthenosphere, there is a sudden drop of the PS velocity. I am presuming आपको PS waves पता है क्या है? Primary waves, secondary waves. Okay, so from about 7.5, 7.6, the velocity can drop to 7.1, 7.2. Sudden drop of velocity होता है. Why drop? Because it is less rigid. It is semi-molten. Keep writing the points. It is semi-molten layers of asthenosphere. देखो क्लास के अंदर लिटरली स्क्रिबिंग चलेगा आपका. हैंड मस्ट कीप ऑन मूविंग. घर जाके रिवाइज करके सेट इट राइट इफ यू वांट टू. ठीक है? सो सडन ड्रॉप ऑफ वेलोसिटी, sudden drop of P and S waves velocity because of low rigidity of asthenosphere. Olivine है, soft semi-molten rocks हैं. Deep middle mantle में again the P and the S velocities will increase. They increase to 9 kilometers per second, 11 kilometers per second, बढ़ जाता है. In the outer core, the S waves disappear. The P continues, but refracted inwards. The P waves continued, but they turn inwards. Inner core में only P waves होते हैं. And then the two diagrams. S waves का diagram with an S shadow zone and a P wave का diagram. P P waves का diagram with P shadow and P shadow zone. 105, 103 degrees, 147, 143 degrees. So S shadow and P shadow. I believe all of you know this. Okay, I'll go back and revise. Okay. Now let's talk about the answer structure. कैसा आंसर दिखेगा आपका? Again, we the people of India, what is it? Okay. So Earth's interiors are very diverse. Earth's interiors are layered. Earth's interiors are 6400 kilometers. We study the interiors through different direct and indirect evidences. Direct and indirect evidences. But the most reliable ones are seismic waves. एक diagram बना दो. Evidences of Earth's interiors. Okay, evidences are volcanism, meteorites, asteroids, study of densities, and there is seismic. This is more reliable. This is more detailed. Okay, it tells us about the rocks and the thickness. Asteroids modified होते हैं. Density, okay, doesn't tell us layering. Volcanism, again modified. The keywords डाल दो कि okay, I know this. Now start off. Start off with what are the problems of various evidences in the study of Earth's interiors. The problem of volcanism, rocks, बताओ 2-3 लाइन में. Problems of study based on density, बताओ 2 लाइन में. What are the problems? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. The diagram mein I have given you a very quick cut. See, I'll tell you from where am I learning this. You know, I have a problem. I can't write fast. Okay, if I write fast, I mess up handwriting like many of us do. So मेरा एक डर हमेशा रहता है कि what if I can't finish the paper or I can't finish the answer itself. और जो important वाला है वो रह जाएगा. That's my fear always. So what I did as a counter is, एग्जामिनर को पहले ही बता दो कि देखो मुझे इतना कुछ पता है. आपने पूछा, मैं दिखा दिया डायग्राम में. What are the problems and why seismic? The first half page में I've communicated कि I know the topic very well. Now I elaborate. अब elaboration is entirely based on how much time I have. अगर time नहीं है, okay, I'll skip all of this and directly say, because of the above problems of evidences, seismic is more desirable because seismic has the following evidences, advantages. अगर time है, the problems are 1, 2 और time खत्म हो रहा है. Stop. Therefore, the advantage of seismic is, लिख देना 2-3 point. अगर ये दो भी नहीं होगा, then इसी डायग्राम में मैंने डिटेल कर देना है. I hope you got the point what I'm doing here. Same thing I have done in the previous answer also. That is one of the ways I address my challenge. And because I can't write fast, I practice a lot of diagrams. I can show 10 times more information in diagrams than in a paragraph. It's like, you know, I can't write fast, I can't write, I get less marks. I can't write fast, but I can draw and tell examiner what all I know. Even if I want very high marks, I will not get poor marks. ठीक है? This is one of the objectives I structure my answer with. So all depends on how much you can write and how fast you can write down. मेरे पास 5 point problems वाले हैं, 6 point strings वाले हैं. मैं तो 5 पेज हो जाएगा यार. तो I'll do is ये 5 में से 3 यहां डाल दो, ओके, 2 यहां लिखो, 4 यहां डाल दो, 2 यहां लिखो. I save time, space, and I have a more comprehensive answer. ठीक है? Conclusion. Therefore, okay, study of interiors is very complex. Okay, there are many ways, but seismic, as discussed above, is the most reliable evidences. Applied aspect. India's Geological Society of India and its network of seismographs, okay, is part of study of the interiors. Therefore, the interiors of the Earth's details explains the geophysical phenomena on the surface. And therefore, maybe understanding earthquakes better, understanding volcanism better. ठीक है? A summary type and an applied type. क्या उसकी significance है? Okay, let's move on. Now, quickly, continental drift theory. Continental drift theory. It's about how Earth's surface, oceans and continents have not been stationary. Okay. Continental drift and movements is the basis of understanding how mountains are formed, why earthquakes happen, and why we have volcanism. The drift theory is one of the early attempts to understand evolution of the Earth and its features. The surface is not stationary, it is dynamic. It keeps changing. The ocean continents, okay, they are not stationary. As they move, they are responsible for many phenomena, many features of their surface. And they help us understand the evolution of the Earth itself. It was a revolutionary theory in geophysics. पता इसमें ऐसा कोई point है कि आपको नहीं पता था? But these two lines become a very nice intro to any question on drift theory. So summarized. Acha. Now, what was the basis of the theory? Basis was, okay, that the Earth is composed of Sial and Sima layers. Sial is the continent, Sima is the ocean. The basis is that the Sial floats on Sima. Sial is lighter, less dense. Sima is oceans, it is more denser, and Sial floats over Sima. As Sial floats, it scrapes the ocean floor and deforms it, associated with earthquakes, volcanism, and mountain building. As the Sial moves, it floats, it scrapes, it deforms, causing earthquakes, volcanism, and fold mounting. And the reason for the Sial moving over Sima are the gravitational pull of sun and moon and Earth's rotation. the gravitational pull of sun and moon, and Earth's rotation. Okay. The basis is various studies. Okay. Like study of fossils, study of rock types, study of the paleoclimates, study of glacial deposits. ये बड़ा पॉपुलर क्वेश्चन होता है इन ऑप्शनल स्टडीज. व्हाट इज द बेसिस ऑफ अ थ्योरी? आधार क्या है, वो किस आइडिया पे निर्धारित है? व्हाट इज द रूट कंसेप्ट ऑन विच द थ्योरी हैज बीन डेवलप्ड? दिस इज योर बेसिस. Basis is Sial Sima. Basis is Sial floating over Sima. The basis is while Sial floats, it scrapes, it modifies. It forms islands, oceans, whatever. And there are different evidences associated which become the root of the theory. Study of fossils, study of rocks, study of old climates, study of glacial deposits. And of course, jigsaw fit, I can add that also. Matching the coastlines of the continents. The jigsaw fit evidences. Yes, the reasons is the pull of sun and moon and Earth's rotation as the reason why it moves. Okay. Now, what are the errors of the theory? What are the criticisms of the theory? Number one is the Sial Sima concept is incorrect about Earth's interiors. The Sial Sima concept is incorrect. Interiors actually Sial Sima nahi hai. Interiors is crust, mantle, or lithosphere, asthenosphere. Sial Sima is a very old, outdated concept. One. Number two, the oceans don't float over, the continents don't float over the oceans. The Sial does not float over the Sima. The lithosphere floats over the asthenosphere. The Sial does not float, the lithosphere floats. And lithosphere includes oceans and continents. The lithosphere includes oceans and continents. The second mistake hai. Third mistake, the continents do not scrape while floating over the oceans. ये भी गलत है. The continents do not scrape while floating over the oceans. कैसे होता है scraping बताओ? The scraping happens when the continents, the oceans subduct into the mantle. देखो ड्रिफ्ट थ्योरी क्या बोल रहा है? ड्रिफ्ट थ्योरी बोल रहा है ये ओशन फ्लोर है, on this the continent sits, and when the continent moves, this sharp edge is scraping the sediments of the ocean floor, और ये बन जाता है माउंटेन में भी. ये बोल रहा है ड्रिफ्ट. Continents are floating over the oceans, and while moving they are scraping. रियलिटी में क्या है? कॉन्टिनेंट ऐसा है and oceans are subducting. While subduction goes on, the sediments are getting scraped. It is not continent over oceans. It is ocean subducting inside the mantle, which is the location of OC boundary में होता है, ये CC boundary में भी होता है. But it's mainly in the OC boundary where the scraping happens. ये भी mistake है. The next mistake is the drifting lithosphere plates are because of convection cells of the mantles, not because of sun and moon attraction. They're because of convection cells of the mantle. The interiors of Earth force the dynamism of the lithosphere. The interiors of the Earth force the dynamism of the interiors. And while the evidences are correct, jigsaw evidence bhi sahi hai. Yes, continents were once together. The fossil evidence is also right. Yes, the fossils, they got separated. The regions got separated. Okay. The evidence of paleoclimates, wo bhi sahi hai. As the continents have moved, the climates have changed. Wo bhi sahi hai. Glacial deposits wala dimension bhi sahi hai. But the evidences are only about continents are moving, not the process that Wegener talked about. The evidences are only about continents do move. Continents are drifting, but not in the process that Wegener had suggested. So I have discussed entire drift theory very fast. What is drift theory? What are the postulates? What is the basis of the theory? And what are the mistakes of the theory? This is a straight. So now every year what they're asking you one conventional question. Okay, itna jaan lo ki aap likh आओगे one answer on drift theory. So typical question will be, what is drift theory? Write the evidences in support of the drift theory. Or critically analyze the concept of continental drift theory. Two questions. What is drift theory? What are the evidences in support of the continental drift theory? And second question is, critically analyze continental drift theory of Alfred Wegener. अच्छा, एक क्वेश्चन पूछा गया था on write about the glacial evidences of continental drift. Write about the glacial evidences of continental drift. Now see, let me explain. Maybe some of you have forgotten or I don't know this. Let me explain this to you. अब देखो, as of now, what do we see? We see equator. There are tropical zones which are warm. Warm zones में wind agent है, warm zones में river agent है, and there are cold areas which are frozen. These are frigid zones. यहाँ पर you have glaciers, you have got ice shelves, and so on. This is, and say there is a continent here. Okay. If I discount mountain heights, if I discount elevations, for tropical areas में we should not be having evidence of the glaciers. ठीक है, Himalayas पे हैं, okay, fine. Okay. But why do I have glacier evidences on the plains? यहाँ एक जगह है, ये mountain है, ये plains है, ये delta region है. भाई यहाँ पर समझ में आता है ग्लेशियर क्यों है, बट यहाँ पर ग्लेशियर क्यों है ट्रॉपिकल एरियाज में? आई कांट एक्सप्लेन दैट, नो. ओके, अच्छा, नाउ इन अफ्रीका देयर इज अ प्लेस कॉल्ड एज डरबन. डरबन कोस्ट के पास में है. डरबन इज अ वेरी ह्यूमिड कंडीशन टाइप ऑफ क्लाइमेट. डरबन हैज नियर द सी लेवल, इट हैज a glacial deposits, glacial tillites in parts of South Africa. वैसे ही India के parts में भी we have evidences of glaciers, not on the mountain Himalayas, but on parts of the peninsular plateau. And both of them are in tropical areas. We call this as climatic anomaly. Where tropical बोल रहे हो, warm areas हैं. Okay, and how come they have glaciers? और वो mountain height भी नहीं है. Okay. So what Wegener said was कि this continent actually यहाँ पर था. It was here, where South Africa was near the South Pole, and parts of India was near Antarctica. Okay, before 250 million years ago. So at that time, when it was here, the glaciers had formed. जब यहाँ पर था, the ice shelves had formed. Today, the continents have moved northwards. The glacial deposits are preserved. Okay, but today they are in the tropical areas. We call this as paleoclimatic evidence of continental drift. Paleo as in old, climate as in climatic. Paleoclimatic evidences of continental drift. So I'm giving you 5 broad heads. इसमें आप develop करना. Okay. First is climate is a function of latitudes. ये सबसे important control है. Climates are functions of latitudes. Tropical areas are not expected to have glacial deposits, glacial tills, glacial deposits, glacial till, not expected to have glacial features unless they are high elevations. Unless they are high elevations. Next, parts of South Africa near Durban, and parts of Indian peninsular plateau, have glacial deposits. They have glacial deposits. But they are in lower elevations and in the tropical latitudes. They are in lower elevations and in tropical latitudes. They're called as climatic anomalies. Such evidences are called as climatic anomalies. Wegener explained this on the basis of continental drift. Wegener explained this on the basis of continental drift. He asserted Southern Africa and parts of India. Were more southwards, located near the southern poles, when Africa and India were part of ancient Pangaea and Gondwana lands. In the Paleozoic times. So that's about 200 to 300 million years ago. And eventually these continents drifted northwards, preserving the glacial evidences. Preserving the glacial evidences. हो गया? तो ड्रिफ्ट पे अगर पूछेगा यही पॉसिबल है. एंड दे माइट आस्क यू समथिंग ऑन फॉसिल एविडेंस. So evidence में we have 4 of them. The jigsaw fit evidence. Number 2 is the fossil evidence. Number 3 is rock structure evidence. And number 4 is the paleoclimatic evidence. जो आपको बताया ग्लेशियर, ये पैलियोक्लाइमेट का पार्ट है. जिक्सॉ फिट नो बिग डील, राइट? मैचिंग कोस्टलाइंस. साउथ अमेरिका, अफ्रीका, मैचिंग कोस्टलाइन. सो आप ये 2 लिख लेंगे आप. रॉक स्ट्रक्चर का मतलब होता है ओके, कॉन्टिनेंट्स हियर, अफ्रीका, ओशन इज हियर, द टाइप ऑफ रॉक इज मैचिंग द टाइप ऑफ रॉक हियर. The type of rock matches the type of rock here. Means they must once have been part of one land. अब टूट के अलग हो गया. NCERT talks about the gold deposits of Brazil matching the gold outcrops of Ghana. The rocks of Argentina, Patagonia matching rocks of Angola and Namibia. ठीक है. सो ब्राजील में देयर आर सर्टेन गोल्ड आउटक्रॉप्स, और ये गोल्ड आउटक्रॉप्स दे मैच विद द गोल्ड ओके रॉक्स ऑफ घाना, आइवरी कोस्ट. ओके, सो दिस इज साउथ अमेरिका, सॉरी, साउथ अमेरिका, दिस इज अफ्रीका. ओके, सो सम पार्ट्स ऑफ ब्राजील हियर. Okay, and the type of rocks we have here. So इनका match है. Some rocks we have here matching the rocks that we have here. Means they were once a part of. That's rock evidence. And a fossil evidence. Okay, so इस पे quick recall. So he has studied, note 3-4 names. Studied a fossil called as Glossopteris, a fossil called as Lystrosaurus, a fossil called as Mesosaurus, and a fossil called as okay a Cyanonathus. Glossopteris एक टाइप का फर्न है. It's a fern. Lystrosaurus, it is a reptile. Okay. Mesosaurus, ये भी reptile है. It is a reptile that swims in shallow waters. This is a land reptile. It is a land reptile. The distribution of these fossils. Okay, ऐसे Mesosaurus, or this is found in parts of Africa and parts of South America. Mesosaurus found in parts of South America, parts of Africa, and also South Asia. Lystrosaurus is also found in parts of, okay, again Africa and parts of South America. So you go back and check your okay maps, your notes में जो भी होगा. So your answer must have these 4 names and telling us, yeah, this is a fern. This is one type of a plant. This type of a fern. All of these are Mesozoic fossils. They are all Mesozoic fossils around 200 million years. The last one is Cyanonathus. Cynognanathus. Cyanonathus is a land reptile. So I have done 3 topics: layers of interiors, evidences of interiors, seismic waves, and the drift theory ke all components. Okay. The next one is plate tectonics. Online, offline. आपको समझ में आ रहा है what is revision now? And you need a command, otherwise you're always groping. सोच ही रहे हो याद नहीं आ रहा. याद नहीं आ रहा है, it's a bad excuse. It's like, you want to become a movie star. The fundamental requirement is you must know acting and dancing. Okay. शक्ल अच्छी है तो अच्छी बात है, वरना you'll get parallel movies. Okay. करते रहना Netflix में. But without dancing, without acting of primary, okay, उतना नहीं आता है तो क्यों आए हो हीरो बनने के लिए? तो वैसे यूपीएससी में the primary requirement is content याद होना चाहिए. Then we'll talk about how to link, structure the answer, current affairs कैसे डालें, okay, how to make diagrams, वो सब बाद में आता है. ठीक है? So revision is that. So your synopsis is important for that. Raho, you see how much I finish off in the time that we have. Okay. I hope all of you are managing the pace. Comfortable तो नहीं हो, मुझे पता है. Okay. But I hope you all manage. अभी भी बहुत लोग लिख नहीं रहे हो. You're agreeing with, हाँ सर ठीक बता रहे हैं. ऐसे कुछ पढ़ा था. Okay. I'm happy you agree with it. Can we have tentative timeline for classes and topics? प्रज्ञा अभी तो खत्म हो जाना चाहिए था. I gave the timeline 10 days ago. I think we had a good discussion, right? बड़े प्यार से समझाया था कि कर लो. The timeline is yesterday. कल तक खत्म हो जाना चाहिए था. For history, after geography and history, look at the timetable you have. I've got 4 classes for geography environment, and then we have history. Okay. So you had your break. Come back. Plate tectonics. So, tectonics का postulate क्या है? Postulate means what are the key ideas of that particular theory? Postulates of drift theory, postulate of tectonic theory. Okay, on the fingertips. इसी sequence में the postulates are Earth's interiors are made up of lithosphere and asthenosphere. The lithosphere comprises oceans and continents side by side. Wegener क्या बोलते हैं? Continents are over the oceans. Wegener says ये ocean है और ये continent है. Okay. What does tectonics say? ऐसे नहीं है. Continent ये है, side में ocean है, and both of them are on another layer called as asthenosphere. ठीक है? So there is lithosphere, oceans and continents, and the asthenosphere. This is the lower part of the upper mantle, okay, till about 350 400 किलोमीटर के thickness तक. And oceans में 2 line, basalt है, thin है, dense है. This is andesite, dioritic, it is thicker. Okay. The next, the lithosphere floats over the asthenosphere. Asthenosphere के average density is around 4 to 5. Ocean is 3.5, continents is 2.5. Asthenosphere is 4 to 5, 4.5, 5, 5.5, density of asthenosphere. It is denser, but it is softer. Whereas continents and oceans, okay, they are, lighter, less dense, continents, oceans, they float over the asthenosphere. Okay. Next postulates is the lithosphere is broken into plates. Write the name of 7 plates: African plate, Antarctic plate, Eurasian plate, American plate, Indo-Austral plate, okay, Pacific plate. It is broken into plates. It's not a continuous one layer. They're broken into plates. Okay. The lithospheric plates, while floating, they interact with one another. The plates, while floating, they interact with one another. कैसे interactions हैं? 3 possible interactions हैं. They can collide, convergent boundary. They can move apart, divergent boundary. Yeah, keep writing, please. आपको याद हो ना हो, move at my pace. आधा अधूरा वर्ड है, चलेगा, घर जाके भर लेना, बट लिखो. अक्षरा, YouTube has so many ads in between. अरे बेटा, इसीलिए तो कह रहा हूं एडमिशन लो हमारे पास में. डैशबोर्ड में नो एड. ओके, मैं ही मैं. ठीक है अक्षरा? We have a solution for that. Either you take a paid subscription of YouTube, हर महीने काटता रहेगा, या एक बार मुझे दे दो. ठीक है, ओके. Divergent plate, so they can collide, collision, they can move apart, divergent, or they can slip past, transform boundaries. They can slip past, transform. डायग्राम बना के दिखाना होगा आपको. ओके. एग्जामिनर एकदम मूर्ख होते हैं, ना दिखाया तो उनको दिखाई भी नहीं देगा. Collision and straight, neat lines. We don't want artistic, we want neat lines. Divergent and three type of movements: convergent, divergent and transform. ठीक है? अच्छा. Next fact. The movements of the plates are associated with the convection currents and the mantle movements. They're associated with convection currents and mantle movements. तो जहां पर convergent है, the mantle movements are converging and descending convection limbs. Converging and descending mantle currents. जहां पर divergent है, rising and diverging convection currents. और यहां पर the currents, okay, they are along the same axis. Along the same axis, neither converging nor diverging. So अगर एक ऐसे चल रहा होगा, उसी एक्सिस में दूसरा वाला ऐसे चल रहा होगा. This is like this. Okay, so this is moving away, but not into one another. ठीक है? This is the postulate of the tectonics theory. Right, next. I'm summarizing. This is for you to quickly recall, okay? So what are the features of divergent boundaries? What are the features of divergent boundaries? Divergent boundaries will have mores, they will have basalt eruptions at the more. The more will have axial faults. The more also has transform faults. Okay. Divergent boundaries, they create oceans. Divergent boundary associated with sea floor spreading process. There is a more. The more will have volcanism. There is the axial rift valley along the more, along the axis. Keep writing, all of you. Axial rift valley. Okay. There are transform faults also. The transform faults. At divergent boundaries, we have ocean creation. And we can also add divergent boundary are locations of continental, okay, say split. They break the continents. The locations of continental split, the locations of ocean creation, and they form something called as sea floor spreading process. इसका diagram आपको पता होना चाहिए. Very quick. Don't have to waste time in too much of, okay. Artistic नहीं चाहिए हमें, but we want it to be neat, representing whatever you want to show. That's all. This crack is called as the transform faults. ये along the axis जो है, ये है axial rift valley. Axial rift valley, and on this you also have volcanism, basalt volcanism, ocean floor. On this side, ocean floor. The ocean floor is created. You have got mantle currents pulling the plates apart. उसी पेन से, उसी पेन, उसी पेंसिल में, but make it neat. Yes, correct, Debarga, because the ocean floors are created, they are constructive boundaries. They are constructive boundaries, correct. And this is what broke the Pangaea, it broke the Gondwana land, it is breaking Africa. We the people of India, world yaad rakhna, okay? What is it? Okay. Examples, tell us the distribution, tell us the diagrams, give us the properties. Basalt rock hai, soft rock hai, volcanism hai, nahi hai, okay, rift valley hai, nahi hai. Tell us about the life forms. यहाँ के केस में life forms applicable नहीं होगा. Okay. Tell us about world में कहाँ हो रहा है, अफ्रीका में हो रहा है. इंडिया के केस में इंडिया got broken from Gondwana because of this. Significance, the process of, okay, continental drift, process of ocean floor creation, the process which explains the formation of Great African Rift Valley. Got done. Now, Californian part North America nahi hai. That is a different type of okay, system there. It's a transform boundary, but not a more system like this. हम more की बात कर रहे हैं. What does a more look like and what does sea floor spreading look like? All good here? So divergent boundary आप कर लेंगे. What are the features? Draw a diagram. You are done. Okay. Now quickly talking about collision boundaries. Collision boundaries, OC collision. OC collision. Okay. OC collision, what are they? Right? So ocean colliding, leading to subduction. What are they? What are the examples of collision boundaries? Boundaries of Pacific Ocean, along Japan, along parts of Philippines, along parts of New Zealand. So whatever you know of OO collision examples क्या है? Diagram बता देना. With the properties में there will be a trench, there is accretionary prism, there will be earthquakes, very violent types, there is andesite of volcanism that creates island chains like Japan, like Indonesia, like Philippines. Okay. I think you have heard about something called as Benioff zone. Is that inclined zone of earthquakes. Benioff zone. Non-geography students, you better revise again. Next time आप लोग अपने notes लेके आना और synopsis and keep matching. हाँ ये पता है नहीं पता है. Go back to room and again also match. Yeah, there is subduction, trenches. Yeah, the features of O boundaries. Okay. So with the people में हो गया आपका. What is it? कहाँ examples हैं? Diagrams, maps, distribution. बताओ कहाँ पर है? Okay. Properties बता दिया आपको. Life forms again in this case. Don't worry about this. In India, Andaman Nicobar Islands are examples of O collision. In India, right? World में Japanese islands, Philippines islands, Indonesian islands. Significance. Earthquake zones हैं, volcanism है, island creation है. Locations where the oceans get destroyed. The locations where oceans get destroyed. अभी सुना ना जापान में मेगा earthquakes. अभी न्यूज में था, Japanese coast has had a massive earthquake and they're fearing a very large tsunami eventually. तो इसमें पूछ देगा आपको, what is it? All done here? You can draw the diagram. O collision, ocean collision. There's a trench, accretionary prism. Some melting happens here, an island. Okay, chains are formed here. Okay, subduction happening, and these are the locations of the earthquakes, inclined plane pe. We call this inclined plane as the Benioff zone of earthquakes. Benioff zone of earthquakes. Okay. Now talk about the OC boundary. Talk about the OC boundary. Any description में आपने apply करना है with the people of India and world and society. What is it? OC collision. Sorry, OO लिख दिया मैंने. So one side continent, other side is ocean. Ocean subducting under the continents. Example, west coast of North America, west coast of South America, northeast coast of Africa, जहां पर भी mountains along the coast है. Rockies Mountains, Andes Mountains, Atlas Mountains, yeah, Mexican, yes, Sierra Madre, east and west, correct. Okay, so what are they? Examples along with distribution मैं बता दोगे आप. प्रॉपर्टीज में ट्रेंच है, प्रॉपर्टीज में एक्रीशनरी प्रिज्म भी है, प्रॉपर्टीज में यहां भी वोल्केनिज्म है, बट इस केस में देयर आर नो आइलैंड फॉर्मेशंस. नाउ you'll have fold mountains like Andes, and on the Andes we will have volcanoes. The fold mountains like Andes, and Andes will have. So give me examples of 4 or 5 volcanic mountains: Aconcagua, Cotopaxi, Chimborazo. Okay, we have Popocatépetl in Mexico. Whatever names you know, at least these 3 names you should know: Cotopaxi, you should know Chimborazo, and Aconcagua. Aconcagua is the southernmost highest peak. Okay, it is the highest peak of southern hemisphere in the Andes near the Chile and the Argentina border. Yes, Mount Whitney bhi hai, correct. Yes, Alaska mein you also have Mount Denali. Mount Denali was also called as Mount McKinley. Mount St. Helens, okay. You have some names here. What are the features? Right? What are properties? Life forms को छोड़ो यहां पर. वर्ल्ड में कहां पर है? Give the examples. इंडिया में. In India we do not have OC boundaries because today they all have become CC collision Himalayas. But there was a time when the Himalayas must have been like OC Andes mountains. कभी रहे होंगे, अब नहीं है. Yes, Ojas del Salados also, correct. Highest, one of the highest peaks हैं. Okay, that's done. Then you talk about a CC collision. CC collision. A CC collision, 2 continents colliding, no subduction. अच्छा, यहां पर ओशन में we have Benioff zone. ये OC में यहां भी होगा Benioff zone. Whenever we have a subducting slab, I will have earthquake zone called as Benioff zone. Benioff zone is common for OC type and also for OO type. The zone, inclined zone of earthquakes at the subduction margins. हो गया? But in CC collision, no subduction, no volcanism, no Benioff zone, but high mountain formation like Himalayan type, high geothermal activity. भाई volcanic eruption नहीं होगा, पर कुछ काम तो चल रहा है ना, something is happening there. Like Manali has hot springs. Parts of Jammu Kashmir also has hot springs. We do have earthquakes happening because of geothermal activity going on. It's an active zone. It's a tectonically active zone. But no volcanisms. We can have earthquake and we can have shallow focus earthquakes and very, very devastating earthquakes. Powerful earthquakes हैं ये. Afghanistan, along Hindu Kush mountains, और टर्की एनाटोलिया हाईलैंड्स में वहां भी अर्थक्वेक हुआ है. नेपाल काठमांडू अर्थक्वेक, इंडिया उत्तरकाशी अर्थक्वेक. ठीक है. सो ऑल ऑफ दिस एरियाज आर earthquake prone areas but not Vadati zone. No volcanism, okay, and no island formation or no eruptions, but high fold mountains. World में बताओ, इंडिया में बता दिया. And significance is continent collisions, continent fusion, the continents enlarge again, mobile belts, you can go on there. हो गया tectonics का part? Okay. Now, the fourth type are the transform boundaries. The plates are slipping past one another. The plates are slipping past one another. ठीक है, तो यहां पर you'll have you can have faults, you can have earthquakes and very powerful earthquakes, no mountain building, no island formation, and no volcanism, no Benioff zone, no Benioff zone. One example we have is the San Andreas fault, and all of us I'm sure heard about it. In California, Los Angeles, San Andreas, S-A-N-A-N-D-R-E-A-S, San Andreas fault in California. Yeah, conservative plate boundaries, because they neither are destroying nor are they creating. The collision boundaries are destructive boundaries. The divergent boundaries are constructive boundaries. Oceans are constructed. Oceans and continents are destroyed. Transform boundaries, neither creation nor destruction. So they are conservative boundaries. So I have given you content for a question. Compare, contrast different type of plate boundaries. Okay? This was the question I was getting ready for. Compare, contrast different type of plate boundaries. So अगर इस पे आंसर लिखना होगा, two lines on, depending on the type of convection currents and the type of interaction between lithospheric plates. We have three primary type of plate boundaries: divergent, convergent, transform. And these plate boundaries have unique features and are associated with different type of consequences. बस दो लाइन में खत्म कि जैसा जैसा आपका करंट्स होंगे मेंटल वाले, those mental currents will create different type of plate boundaries. Like mention them, and they have different consequences. Then ये what हो गया? Come towards distribution, types, diagrams. A favorite diagram for me is always schematics and tables. So what I did right now, this itself can become a diagram. Divergent boundary, convergent boundary, transform boundary. OC and OO and CC. Because इनमें ना बहुत commonalities है ना. Diagram, I don't have to have a complete answer here. I must save some space. The key ideas: trench, accretionary prism, Benioff zone, active volcanism, ocean destruction. इतना लिख सकते हो आप लोग. Just the keywords. Tell the examiner I know the subject. Okay. Again, 4 words. Okay. High earthquakes, no subduction, fold mountain formation, strong seismic activity, okay, but no volcanism, no trenches. यहाँ बता दो, more formation, split of continent, split of oceans, okay, basalt volcanism, 2, 3, 4 points, and 2, 3 points here. ठीक है? And what I could do is, don't draw the whole world map. आपको दिखाना है, right? So I will show the map of North America, South America, Africa. बस इतने में काम चला लेंगे हम. Divergent boundary, divergent boundary, convergent boundary, convergent boundary. OC convergence, OC convergence. Okay, this is divergent, more formation, and this is divergent, continental split. Give some names: African Rift Valley, Challenger Ridge, Dolphin Ridge, Challenger Ridge. Okay, the Atacama Trench, British Columbia, Middle American trenches. Give some names, whatever you know. So go back and check your notes for all the details here. So itna pad ke na, examiner knows that you know the subject. Now I will discuss some points. So features of divergent boundaries. So लिखो सब पैराग्राफ में, यहाँ सब कुछ तो होगा नहीं. Features of OC boundaries, features of CC boundaries. Conclusion में, therefore, tectonics can explain a diversity of landforms on the Earth's surface. All primary formations, all first order landforms, faults, volcanisms, continents, oceans, first and second order landforms can be explained by tectonics. And while discussing the details, examples dete rehna wherever possible. Some examples from India, some examples from the world. All done here? Okay. The next one. Now, fold mountains or mountain building is a very important topic. हालांकि पूछा नहीं है. Sorry. Mountain building. अगर mountain building पूछा, remember you must talk about volcanic mountains, block mountains, fold mountains, miscellaneous. Geography optional, guys. Don't flaunt all geography that you know. Okay, treat it like a GS1. Okay, volcanic mountains, they're called as stratovolcanoes, also called as composite volcanoes. They are the most common one. They are the highest ones. They're associated with andesite eruptions, very violent earthquakes, और उनके लेयर्स होते हैं. रॉक्स, टेफ्रा, ऐश, लावा, किलिमंजारो, फुजियामा, मैकिनली, विटनी, चिम्ब्रेजो, all the common mountains of the world, volcanic जो हैं, वो सारे composite ही हैं. Stratovolcano, composite volcano, the most complex ones. They have got the very common ones. They have the highest heights of volcanic mountains. They're associated with andesitic eruptions, जहाँ पर OC होगा या फिर CC collision, sorry, जहाँ पर OC होगा या फिर O collisions होगा. And these are layers of solidified magma, layers of broken rocks and crushed rocks, layers of ash. Ash is called as tephra. ये सारे deposits को हम बोलते हैं pyroclast. Ash, broken rocks, and lava becoming solid. They're accumulations of pyroclast. Okay? talk about block mountains. Block mountains. Because of rifting and relative vertical movement of the blocks. Rifting and relative vertical movement of the blocks. Okay? So the block which goes above, this is the block mountain. What stays down? It becomes the graben. Graben, a rift valley, like a grave. Graben, block mountain. The block mountain also called as host. Also called as host. The vertical relative fall, vertical relative rise. And this is a fault. And what type of fault is this one? Normal or reverse fault? किस टाइप का fault होगा ये वाला? What type of fault? This is an example of, sorry. हाँ ठीक तो है. This goes down, this goes up. This going up is hanging wall. Sorry. This is the footwall. This is the hanging wall. Hanging wall goes down, footwall goes up. It's called as normal fault. This is the block mountain. This has gone up, this has come down. This is the hanging wall. ऊपर चला गया और footwall नीचे आ गया. It's called as a reverse fault. How do you know कौन सा hanging wall है, कौन सा footwall है? How do you know that? अगर ये ब्लॉक है और ये क्रैक है, ये क्रैक के जो नीचे है ये है फुटवॉल, जो ऊपर है हैंगिंग वॉल है. स्लिप होने के बाद हैंगिंग वॉल कैन गो अप और कम डाउन. यहां पर द हैंगिंग वॉल हैज कम डाउन. ये अगर फॉल्ट है, ओके, यू ब्रिंग देम बैक इन पोजीशन एंड सी दिखने में कैसा है. यू ब्रिंग देम बैक इन पोजीशन एंड सी दिखने में कैसा है. कोई भी फॉल्ट के the upper side is hanging wall, the lower side is the footwall. Foot as in नीचे, ऊपर नीचे है, hanging as in ऊपर है. If the hanging wall goes up, it's a reverse fault. If the hanging wall goes down, it's a normal fault. So block mountains कब बनते हैं? Reverse faults में या normal faults में? दोनों में. यहां पर the footwall is the host, block mountain. यहाँ पर the hanging wall is the host. And the rule is normal fault always for tensile force and reverse fault always for compressive force. So block mountains कैसे बना? समझा दिया आपने. ये रूल है. Whenever it's a reverse fault, it's compressive forces. Whenever it is normal fault, it is okay, tensile. Tensile is in stretching. Tensile force. ठीक है? So you understood the block mountains बता दिया. Explain fold mountains. 5 points. Fold mountains are uplifted marine sediments. They're uplifted marine sediments. अगर marine sediments हैं, the common rocks will be limestone and sandstone. The common rocks will be limestone and sandstones. Fold mountains always because of convergent boundaries. Always because of convergent boundaries, collision boundaries. Either OC type, Andes fold mountains, or CC type, Himalayan fold mountains. Andes type, OC collision, and Himalayan type is CC collision. OC type will have trenches alongside, along the coast, and can have volcanoes. OC type of fold mountains are alongside trenches, along the coast, and can have volcanism. Himalayan type are continent words inside the continent, like Himalayas. No trenches, no volcanism. The CC types are more common. As of now, ज़रूरी नहीं है rule है. Yes, Pragya, they once upon a time were, but today also they are CC type. Himalayas must have been OC type once, now they are CC types. Okay, and any fold mountain जो active mountain है, zone of earthquakes है. Okay. And because they are soft sediments, marine sediments, they also are prone to landslides. This is a straight question. What are mountains? They ask every year, ab pooch rahe hain. They ask you very basic ones. Like one they ask you on the type of rocks, right? They will say, what are the types of? India mein, okay, what are the mountains we have? The Western Ghats are block mountains. The Western Ghats are block mountains. The Himalayas and Aravalis are fold mountains. Andaman Nicobar have volcanic mountains. Yes, Vindhyas block bhi hai aur Vindhyas fold mountains bhi hai. Vindhyas are block mountains. They also are fold mountains. All done? Mountain building. Okay. Next question is earthquakes. And I have a gut feeling earthquake is important this year. Okay. If not this year, next year, but इसमें पूछा नहीं है for some time. Earthquakes. What are earthquakes? Violent shaking of the earth. They can be because of natural factors, they can be because of human factors. Natural factors, tectonic activities, landslide. Under oceans, landslides called as turbidity currents. When underwater, we have got massive landslides along the slopes of continents. We call that as turbidity, Turbidity, turbidity currents. They can cause earthquakes. Earthquakes linked to volcanism. And the most active parts are, the plate boundaries. The most active being along the Pacific Ocean, the Pacific Circumbelt. So what are earthquakes? And why do we have earthquake? Bata diya. Now, in terms of types of earthquakes, we classify on the basis of the depth. Shallow focus, intermediate focus and deep focus. जो shallow focus हैं, they are generally within 30-60 kilometers. They generally are in the lithosphere. The shallow focus generally within the lithosphere. Okay, but they can also be part of the upper mantle. Deep focus earthquakes are earthquakes beyond 700 kilometers or 900 kilometers. Beyond 700 or 900 kilometers. और जो बीच में रह गया, they are the intermediate focus. Two, 3 points. Shallow focus are more common because surface के पास में है, you can feel them more powerfully. They are more common. Shallow focus are also very destructive because surface के पास है. The Benioff zone has all the 3 types. The Benioff zone of subduction has all the 3 types of earthquakes. Next, hotspot volcanism. The lava comes from deep mantle, hotspot volcanism, with very fluid lava. They are more associated with deep earthquakes. But remember, deep earthquakes ज़्यादा violent होते नहीं हैं. Very fluid lava moves very easily, basalt. The most dangerous ones are shallow earthquake. Like Himalayas में, the shallow earthquake dominate. The shallow earthquakes dominate. And human factors में, earthquakes because of tunneling, drilling, mining, deforestation, okay, dam breach, landslides. A small list, don't have to be exhaustive here. Yeah, human aspects and earthquakes. How do we measure earthquakes? Mercalli scale, Ritter scale. Okay, we have modified Mercalli scale. Modified Mercalli is more popular. Modified Mercalli is more popular. ठीक है? Yes, modified Mercalli measures the relative degree of destruction. It measures relative degree of destruction. ठीक है? अच्छा, India's earthquake belts. I will not draw that right now. Check your notes. 4 points. All parts of India are prone to earthquakes. India में zone 1 नहीं है अब, पहले था. Now Indian zones are 2, 3, 4 and 5. 2, 3, 4 and 5. 5 is mostly Himalayas, Sikkim, Jammu Kashmir, and 5 also includes parts of Kutch. Northern plains are largely zone 4. zone 4. The plateau regions are zone 3 and 2. The plateau regions are relatively more stable zones. Relatively more stable zones. ठीक है, earthquakes हम दोबारा कराएंगे. We're discussing disasters. I'll discuss the solutions there. But earthquakes, so what are earthquakes? Why do we have earthquakes? Okay. And what are the earthquake locations? Okay. Example में, you must mention Anatolia earthquake, Turkey wala. Anatolia earthquake in Turkey. It was in southeastern Turkey. There's a fault called as East Anatolia fault. A fault called East Anatolia fault. So this is a Black Sea like this. Okay. And this is Turkey. ये Turkey है. So there are faults. There is one fault like this. There is, sorry, one fault like this, and there's a fault like this. This is called as North Anatolia fault. This is called as East Anatolia fault. और earthquake जो हुआ था वो ये वाले पार्ट में हुआ था. This Anatolia fault was active. वैसे ही अफगानिस्तान में, अफगानिस्तान का मैप कुछ ऐसा है, something like this. And here we have Hindu Kush mountains. This is Pamir snots. This is Himalayas like this. Can you hear me? Guys, take a break of 5 minutes. Am I audible now? Yes. नहीं, कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं हुआ था, गलती से लाल बटन दब गया. I switched off by mistake. I had a temptation to say it is network problem, but it was not. So Pragya, the universe knew it is 6 p.m. So you need to have some break. Go take your bio break. Yes, Debarga, everybody must have faced it because I had switched off by mistake. What was that question? Till which attempt do you think one should give UPSC? Some saying 2 and 3 and quit. But abhi se kyun plan kar rahe ho 2 and 3 ka? Right now plan for 25. But plan it properly. But ye fact hai that while people do qualify 5th attempt, 6th attempt, but I think उतना ऑब्सेशन नहीं होना चाहिए. वैसे तो लोग ना प्लेन से कूद के भी बच जाते हैं. I've heard they don't die. But no reason why you must try that. Study well, plan well, organize your preparation properly, give 1 or 2 good attempts, and then move on in life. Satyam, all these topics in GS are optional. These are GS topics. With optional, they definitely become more manageable. But these are GS. Look at the questions asked. आप क्वेश्चन देख नहीं रहे हो। अच्छा, ओके, आई थिंक आई लॉस्ट यू समवेयर इन दिस अर्थक्वेक जोन। या कैन समवन टेल मी व्हाट वाज द लास्ट टॉपिक आई डिस्कस्ड एंड यू कुड हियर मी? ओके, ये वाला पार्ट में, ठीक है। सो दिस इज अफगानिस्तान मैप। This is Afghanistan approximately. This mountain range is called as Hindu Kush mountain range. And this is an area of highlands called as the Pamirs, and that's Himalayas. ठीक है? तो यहाँ एक city है called as Herat, H-E-R-A-T. Herat is prone to earthquakes. इधर काशी, काश, इसी के पास में कांदाहार। So this belt is prone to earthquakes. बहुत न्यूज में रहता है, so you better know these places. Yeah, I just gave a short 5 minutes break. Let the students come back. अच्छा बताओ, you have any doubts you want to clarify while the others join us? So one doubt was, is this geography or GS? Optional or GS? So I think that's cleared now. What other doubts you have? Whether to give 2-3 attempts or 6-7 attempts? In the class of an online, how many of you are recalling while I'm teaching? सबको रिकॉल हो रहा है? All the points? या familiar है? हाँ, हो जाएगा types. See, when you make a synopsis, the next step is memorize it. Okay, you memorize it like you can generate without seeing the papers. ठीक है? And that type of memorization possible नहीं है without summarizing. Class notes you can't summarize, you can't remember. जितना भी हो पाता है लड़ मड़ के do it. Okay, I think all are back. So earthquakes location बता दिया मैंने, and of course you must remember the Pacific belt, the Circum-Pacific belt. This is your Circum-Pacific belt. Malaysia, that's equator. Something like this is the arc of earthquakes. It comes like this towards New Zealand. And you label them. कहाँ पर जापान है, कहाँ पर Aleutian Islands हैं, Japanese Islands, Aleutian Islands, Philippines, Borneo, okay, parts of South America, यहाँ पर Andes Mountains. Almost more than 80% of the earthquakes, the violent ones, are in the Circum-Pacific belt. Are in the Circum-Pacific belt. प्रज्ञा, Benioff zone एक zone है that matches the subduction plate. Ocean going down, that's continent. Okay. So while the ocean goes down, there can be earthquakes along this zone because of a friction. तो इस जोन को बोलते हैं बेनियोफ वदाती जोन. Benioff Fatati zone. ठीक है, let's continue. So earthquakes हो गया. अच्छा. Earthquake management will take up while discussing disaster management. You have the geophysical aspects of earthquakes. Okay. Now, volcanism. Volcanism का 3 discussion part है. How does it happen? What are the features associated and where? How it happens? Linked to plate tectonics, mantle movement, convection cells से associated. Okay. The divergent boundary has, the collision boundary, all 2 of them have, not the CC types. Divergent boundaries, we have OO collision, OC collision, both of these linked to subduction. Okay. And there is magmatic chamber जहां से होता है. Features, if it is divergent boundary volcanism, it is basaltic, very common at the Moors. If it is OC collision or OO collision, it is andesite type of lava. This is a very thick lava. Okay. These types are associated with trenches. The Pacific, okay, circumbelt जो है, Circum-Pacific belt along Japanese islands, Indonesian islands, along the Andes mountains, along the Rockies mountains. Okay. These are one of the most destructive volcanoes. They are one of the most destructive volcanoes. If there is no subduction, there will be no volcanism. Smriti. And a third type, which is intraplate. We also call these as hotspots. These come as isolated or volcanic streams. इसको हम बोलते हैं plumes. They are isolated है inside the plate. Example is Hawaiian Islands, Reunion Islands, Azores Islands. These are very, very basaltic. They are very fluid. They are not explosive. जो हॉटस्पॉट्स वाले होते हैं आइसोलेटेड हैं. They are away from the plate boundaries. Away from plate boundaries, isolated, not explosive, not destructive, and very fluid lava. Example I said is Hawaiian Islands. Recently, Hawaiian Islands has been erupting. It has caused forest fires. It has caused earthquakes. Okay, and this lava comes from deep mantle. Okay, so agar continent, ocean layer, upper mantle, middle mantle, deep mantle, that's the outer core, inner core. The lava comes from here, these type of lavas, this type of lavas. एकदम isolated होते हैं, and they can form some accumulations here. They can form some accumulations here. Okay, say they are very quiet. They form lava plateaus, like Deccan lava plateau, like parts of Patagonia plateau. Part of Patagonia plateau. ठीक है? So mantle plume पे पूछा हुआ question था. What are mantle plumes? And you go back and check this in your notes. Hotspot volcanism are good evidences of plate tectonic motions. When the plates move, these lavas can trace islands. The evidences of plate movements. So some time ago, a question tha, I don't have it with me right now. What are volcanic plumes? Define, this was in 2018, define mantle plume and explain its role in plate tectonics. Define mantle plume and its role in plate tectonics. 2018 में पूछा हुआ है. I think in the last class I've discussed that question, no? What are the characteristics of Circum-Pacific zone? Question लिखो. 2020 का question है. Discuss the geophysical characteristics of the Circum-Pacific zone. Discuss the geophysical characteristics of Circum-Pacific zone. We the people of India. What is Circum-Pacific zone? It's a belt of earthquakes and volcanoes along the margins of the Pacific Ocean, along the western coast of North and South America, and along the eastern coast of Eurasia. बताओ क्या है? What is the Circum-Pacific zone? ठीक है? The specific examples are बताओ. The zone includes Japanese islands, Philippines islands, Aleutian islands. It includes the coast of California, of Canada, west coast of Canada, California, Mexico. 4-5 names बता दो आप. And draw a diagram. Draw a diagram. ठीक है? हो गया आपका? Question है, इसी पे है question. What are the properties? So Circum-Pacific belts में क्या features हैं, क्या properties हैं? Number 1, they are subduction zones. Western Pacific is OO type, Eastern Pacific is OC type. Number 2, the OO type, जो Western Pacific में है, there are island chains called archipelagos. The island chains called archipelagos. There are trenches. There are trenches. And very active earthquake zones. Japan is one of the most earthquake prone country of the world. ठीक है? The features of Eastern Pacific, again trenches, subduction zone, and of course to mention Benioff, okay? दोनों जगह बेनियोफ जोन्स हैं. Benioff zone, violent earthquakes. Unlike Western Pacific, the Eastern Pacific margins have Andes type of fold mountains. Rockies Mountains, North America, Andes Mountains, South America. And these mountains are associated with volcanism also. नाम बता दो. They're associated with volcanism also. और क्या फीचर्स हैं? The Circum-Pacific belt is a zone of ocean destruction. The Pacific Ocean is getting destroyed. प्रज्ञा, अच्छा, you got it. एंडीज वेस्ट में है, नॉर्थ अमेरिका. मैं पैसिफिक की बात कर रहा हूं ना. पैसिफिक में ईस्टर्न पैसिफिक है. ठीक है, यू गॉट इट, फाइन. सो दैट्स वन, a zone of ocean destruction. Number two, one of the most active belts of volcanoes and earthquakes are prone to tsunamis. Prone to tsunamis. Okay, so in this answer, I don't need life form. India is not a part of it, no point discussion, और ये हमने कर दिया है. Significance क्या है? Significance is okay, part of the global plate tectonics. It's part of understanding the evolution of the earth crust. It tells us oceans are created and also destroyed. The part of understanding crustal evolution. And understanding the process help us in better disaster management. हो गया आपका आंसर? Yes, I know it's a good formula. Okay, you can thank me आराम से बाद में भी. ठीक है, all done? Okay, so I've done this question. Look at another question. Explain the formation of thousands of islands of Indonesian and Philippines archipelago. Explain the formation of thousands of islands of Indonesian and Philippines archipelagos. (2014). Again, put it in this formula. What are archipelagos? Archipelagos are volcanic islands formed with andesitic rocks. One type of rocks, I have used this term very often now. एक type का rock है basalt, igneous rock. One type of igneous rock is granite. One type of igneous rocks are andesite. बसाल्ट जहां पर भी होगा, बसाल्ट होता है मोर में, बसाल्ट्स होते हैं फॉर इंट्राप्लेट वोल्केनिज्म और हॉटस्पॉट्स. एंडेसाइट्स आर फीचर्स ऑफ दिस OO collision boundaries. Japanese is andesite, Indonesia is andesite, Philippines andesite. और जहां पे andesite होगा, they are very explosive. Basalt are quieter ones. Hawaiian Islands are basalt. Indonesia andesite है, Philippines andesite, Japanese islands andesite, and Aleutian Islands of North America, Alaska also andesite. Basalt is on the Moor. Basalt is Deccan Lava Plateau. Basalt is at the hotspot locations. Hawaiian Islands are basalt. a basalt or quieter. Yes, Andaman Nicobar are also andesite. Okay? So come back to what are they? What may? Archipelagos are chains of volcanic islands. They are andesitic volcanic accumulations. Okay? They are features of OO collision boundaries, ocean-ocean collision boundaries, such as Indonesia, Philippines, and the rest. So what हो गया and examples बता दिया. Draw a diagram. Diagram of Vietnam, China, Japanese islands, Philippines islands, Equator, Sumatra, Java, New Guinea, Sulawesi. Okay. These are Philippines island, ये Java island है, Sumatra island, a New Guinea island. This is Japanese islands. Okay. How are they formed? अब ये पूछ रहा है. Okay. 4 points. How are they formed? Number 1, they are at the OO collision boundaries. There is subduction of, अब समझा दो, subduction of ocean floor. This is continent, this is ocean slab, another ocean slab, collision happening, this is subduction, यहाँ पर trench होगा, यहाँ पर accretion prism होगा, and this subducting one inside the mantle is melting. The lava coming out, punctures here, and forms islands. And islands formed along the entire stretch. ये पूरे stretch में you'll have islands. They become chain of islands here. The link to subduction plates. Melting plates inside the mantle, creating volcanism, and they become linear arcs of islands. Such islands are associated with trenches. They're associated with trenches. And a continuous eruption over millions of years. Continuous eruption. Pacific Ocean is the oldest one that we have. Continuous eruption over millions of years has created thousands of islands. It is still an active zone. अभी भी बन रहे हैं. It is an active zone. So these islands are associated with active volcanoes. Mount Pinatubo, Mount Merapi, Mount Pinatubo Philippines में है. Mount Merapi, 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 Indonesia में है. Mount Anak Krakatau, ANAK, Anak, KARAKATAO, Anak Krakatau. Again Indonesia, along the Sunda Java Trench. Anak Krakatau. ठीक है? Some of the most explosive volcanic eruptions because andesitic है. These island chains are not like Hawaiian Islands. They are not like Hawaiian Islands. तो क्या हैं बताओ और क्या हैं बताने के लिए a comparison helps. Hawaiian Islands are hotspot. They are intraplate. away from plate boundaries. हो गया? So we the people में L छोड़ दो, लाइफ फॉर्म में जरूरत नहीं है. इंडिया में such islands are also in India. अंडमान निकोबार आइलैंड्स. अंडमान निकोबार आइलैंड्स वर्ल्ड का बता दिया आपने. Significance, part of tectonics, part of understanding calamities like earthquakes and tsunamis of Japan. Okay? So I'm done with this one. एक और question लिखो. This question of islands was 2014. And the Circum-Pacific belt was 2020. Another question is, why are the world's fold mountain systems located along the margins of continents? Why are the fold mountain systems located along the margins of continents? Bring out the association between the global distribution of fold mountains, earthquakes and volcanoes. Bring out the association between the distribution of fold mountains and earthquakes and volcanoes. This is 2014 again. See, once the content आपको याद है ना, you can play with it. The challenge is you remembering it. अच्छा, start off. Again, we are the people of India शुरू करो. अब ये याद हो गया आपको, ठीक है? What are they? Fold mountains are a special category of mountains associated with uplifted marine sediments. What are they? Associated with uplifted marine sediments. They're associated with plate tectonics. There are two types of fold mountains. One of which are Andes types found along the coast of the continents. One of which are found along the coast of continents. Such type of mountains also include Rockies of North America, also include Atlas of Africa. और एक बताओ, और एक कहां पर है? एंडीज बता दिया, एंडीज हो गया, एंडीज डन. रॉकीज बता दिया, एटलस. और कहीं पर है ऐसा? द ग्रेट डिवाइडिंग रेंज ऑफ ऑस्ट्रेलिया. क्या? जेलन माउंटेन्स. ओके, वो लास्ट में. ठीक है, यू नॉट रॉन्ग रौनक. जेलन माउंटेन्स ऑफ नॉर्वे, द ग्रेट डिवाइडिंग रेंज, द सदर्न एल्प्स ऑफ साउथ आइलैंड न्यूजीलैंड. ठीक है, बट द बेटर एग्जाम्पल इज ऑस्ट्रेलिया. हो गया. सो वी हो गया. व्हाट इज इट? एग्जाम्पल डायग्राम्स बना लेंगे आप लोग. एवरी टाइम डोंट ड्रॉ द एंटायर वर्ल्ड मैप. आप उतना ही बनाओ जितना आपको दिखाना है. So the mountains are Rockies mountains here, Andes mountains here, Great Dividing Range here, Atlas mountains here. That's all. सब मत दिखाओ ना. Show an arrow mark. This question is asking you, tell us the reason why are they there. बताओ. These mountains are formed as a consequence of OC collisions, scraping of the ocean sediments by the continents. The sediments accumulate and become elevated mountains. Such mountains, therefore, are near the trenches. Near the trenches. बना के दिखा दो. Subduction, the continent here, there's a trench here, and sediments are piling up. Sediments pile up into mountains. Such mountains can also have active volcanism associated with subducting ocean slab. Active volcanism associated with subducting ocean slab. Okay? So where are they found? Achha. Now it's a nice thing, ab add kar dena, कि these are, however, not all the fold mountains. We also have Himalayan type of fold mountains inside the continents because of CC collision. Example bata do, Andes, Himalayas, Hindu Kush, Kulun Shan, Caucasus mountains. Significance. Part of tectonics, part of crustal evolution, part of understanding the distribution of earthquakes and volcanism and disasters. Okay, ho gaya? So this also is done. Question ek aur likho, 2013 question. What do you understand by theory of continental drift? What do you understand by theory of continental drift? Discuss the prominent evidences in its support. Discuss the prominent evidences in its support. ये पहले बता दिया आपको, remember? Jigsaw fit, rock structure, glacial and paleoclimatic. So last 10 years के all the PYQs I have touched. अच्छा एक और क्वेश्चन था 2021 वाला लिख लो. Mention the occurrence of volcanic eruptions in 2021. Mention the eruptions of mention the occurrence of volcanic eruptions in 21 and their impact on regional environment. And their impact on regional environment. अब 21 में क्या की इवेंट था वो तो बात का बात है, ठीक है. ऐसे क्वेश्चन को छोड़ मत देना. वर्ल्ड में there are 6-7 important active volcanoes. Iceland में पक्का होगा. Active ones are along Japanese islands. Active ones are along Mediterranean Sea. Active ones are along Philippines. इतने नहीं बता देते, वो 4-5 नाम में खेल जाते. The point is people say याद नहीं है छोड़ दिया. That's a very bad strategy. Write down whatever you know. Okay. हाँ, impact on environment क्या है? 4 impacts. One impact is the amount of volcanic dust. Okay. It impacts atmosphere, it impacts the sunlight penetration, enormous amount of volcanic dust thrown into the sky. That's one impact. Second impact environment is large scale destructions. So if you know about volcanic mud flows, Okay. Lava destructions of villages. Third impact is Hawaiian Islands mein. You can have forest fires. Forest fires. The fifth impact is expulsion of acidic content, because volcanic eruption mein na lot of sulfur gases come out. Sulfur oxides, compounds come out. They cause acid rains. They cause acid rains. If lot of eruption happens, they can also block the sunlight. It can cause some amount of temperature drop. And after every eruption, there is always rains, because moisture comes out. The destruction, sunlight, acid rain, a rainfall, volcanic lava, forest fires. That's about it. What is the impact on the regional environment? I am not done. Okay, you can stretch your fingers. Done का मतलब है मैंने फिर 5 टॉपिक टिक मार देना है कि हो गया, पढ़ा दिया, अपना रिवाइज करो. This part of discussion is मेरी मेहरबानियां. I am being generous. आपने घर में पढ़ा नहीं है तो मेरे साथ पढ़ रहे हो. So if you have to go, you can go, Vivek, no problem. No compulsion. अगर मम्मी मारेगी पढ़ाई करने से, घर जाओ. Offline, anybody tired? You have to go, you can go, no problem. But I'll continue. अब technical topic शुरू होता है. Right? So we start off with coastlines. Okay. Types of coastlines. Types of coastlines. So some of you will know these topics, but ये unconventional topics हैं. They may be taught, they may not have been taught in your class. ठीक है? So मेरे batch से बच्चे, in some batches they have done, in some batches not done. ठीक? Okay. Coastlines and coasts. So there are 3 types of coastlines. There are emergent coastlines, there are submergent coastlines, and there are neutral coastlines. This type of coastline is based on a relative change in the sea levels. It's based on a relative change in the sea levels. If there is a relative fall of water or a rise of the land, is called as emergent coastlines. अगर पानी का लेवल गिर गया और लैंड बाहर आ गया, emergent. Emergent coastlines, they will have exposed sandbars, they will have lagoons, and they generally are relatively more shallow. The coastlines are shallow coastlines with sandbars and lagoons formation. India mein Malabar coast is an example of emergent coastline. Malabar coast, an example of emergent coastline. Okay, next is, Malabar coast, even southern Tamil Nadu, the islands that we have along Tuticorin, okay, those islands are also because of emergent coastlines. Parts of Odisha may be emergent coastlines. Hai. Submergent, there is a relative rise in the sea level. Either the land has subsided or the water has risen. So present day global climate change can cause more and more of submergent coastlines. They can form submergent coastlines. Now, submergent coastlines are of three types. We can have submerged river valleys. We can have submerged glacial valleys. And we can have submerged mountains parallel to the coast. Submerged river valleys, submerged glacial valleys. So imagine this is the sea, this is the land, and some river was moving here. Water level rose and water has entered into the river valley. Maybe there is a glacier moving here. Water level rose and water has entered into the glacial valley. Okay. The submerged river valleys are called as ria coasts. Submerged glacial valleys are called as fjords. Fjords of Sweden, fjords of Norway, fjords of Scotland. They are submerged glacial valleys called as fjords. And we have submerged mountains parallel to the coast. These type of coasts are called as Dalmatian coasts. They're called as Dalmatian coasts. Dalmatian coast का best example है the coast along Croatia and Slovenia along the Adriatic Sea. आप कभी मैप देखोगे ना Adriatic Sea का, this is Italy, island of Sicily, Adriatic Sea, okay. इधर Greece है, this is Croatia, Croatia is like a hook like this is Slovenia here, and this big country here is Bosnia. You'll find lot of islands here, many islands, hundreds of islands. In one of the islands of Croatia, you've had shootings of Game of Thrones, right? So यहाँ पे बहुत सारे, bulk of shooting was Croatia में एक जगह है called as Dubrovnik. एकदम coastline पे. Dubrovnik is famous for the Game of Thrones. So these islands, यहाँ पर एक mountain हुआ करता था. There was a mountain here. Water level has risen, and only the mountain tops are visible like islands. Yes, Ganesh, correct. इसको बोलते हैं Dalmatian coast. They're called as Dalmatian coasts. ठीक है. Now इसका application है. All these coasts, Riazo, fjords and Dalmatian, they'll have very calm waters. They will have calm waters. Okay, low energy waves. Low energy waves. They have lagoons. Okay. They are sheltered from strong winds. They're sheltered from strong winds. So that way, they are good location for ports. Because calm water hai, you do not have too much of destructive waves. They are lagoons, they are good locations for ports. But एक problem है. Okay. जो fjord coastline है, the fjord coastline, so fjords means what? There must have been a glacier. A glacier means this must have been very mountainous. यहाँ पे mountains हुआ होगा. अब ये पानी यहाँ तक आ चुका है. This is a good location for a port. But port के लिए you need 3 more conditions. One condition is calm waters. Second condition is this area must have some kind of economic activities also. Third is it should have trading and resource regions. So calm waters hai, but log hi nahi rehte hain. Calm waters hai, resource nahi hai. I will not have a port, right? So these are the discussions. Now, fjord locations, they are generally not good ports, although they are calm waters. They are generally not good ports because they are mountainous. They don't have good economic hinterland. They do not have good economic hinterland. But Dalmatian coast, so mountain tha, wo डूब चुका है. And Rias not necessarily कि a mountain रहेगा. It can be any river coming and joining. Rias make the best coastlines. Rias make the best coastlines. Oh, sorry, make the best port locations. Calm waters, good river is flowing, the river can be navigable. वो river के साथ में you can interlink the hinterlands. So they become good locations of ports. But Hooghly is not because of submergence and sea level rise. I need sea level rising. Then I'll call. So maybe utna pani rise ho gaya. Okay, then probably I'll call this areas as Rias. Abhi we don't talk about that Rias. Rotterdam is an example of a Ria coast. Rotterdam in Netherlands. Rotterdam, Hamburg, mouth of river Elbe in Germany. Those are important Ria coasts. Okay? So I've discussed three things. Type of coasts. I've mapped them to where they are. And I mapped them to economic significance. Now, generally, fjord coast jo hota hai, okay, they are very unique ecosystems. Fjord coasts are unique. In fact, fjord coasts are like ecotones. Mountainous glacial ecosystem and the marine ecosystems. So they are very rich in biodiversity, ecological diversity. Okay. They are very beautiful, sea line bhi hai, marine bhi hai, mountainous hai, to mountain snow landscape bhi hai. So fjords are very beautiful, very picturesque. They are tourist spots, but not very good for trading and ports. Not good for trading and ports. ठीक है? You may prepare something on Karst topography. Your syllabus says important geographical features, their importance and their distribution. ऐसे तो बहुत सारे हैं, river features, glacial features. So I presume that you have done in some ways maybe, otherwise आप basic NCERTs हैं. In most classes we don't teach. Why? Because it's very school type. Okay, but then Karst is a very unique one. Karst you might know. ठीक है? Okay. So Karst topography, I'm giving you like quick summary here. They are limestone, okay, features. They are formed because of water dissolution action. Formed because of water dissolution action. Next, Karst topographies are generally underground features. They are generally underground features, part of karst caverns or karst caves. Karst caverns or karst caves. But there may be surface features called as sinkholes. Surface features called as sinkholes. And very large sinkholes are called as dolines, uvala, U-V-A-L-A, dolines and uvalas. They are major disasters. ये जो sinkholes हैं, they can collapse and entire cities can get consumed. Okay? So they can become disaster areas. The next point. Okay. Karst feature formation requires, number one, the region must be relatively dry regions. ज़्यादा पानी होगा तो पूरा धुल जाएगा. They must be relatively dry regions. The limestone rocks must not be at great depths. The limestone rocks must not be at great depths. बहुत deep होगा तो पानी पहुंच नहीं पाएगा. And the limestones must have natural cracks and joints. They must have natural cracks and natural joints for the water to percolate, dissolve and move. Water to percolate, water can dissolve the limestone chalk formations and the water can move. You can add here that the water must be slightly acidic. The water must be slightly acidic to dissolve carbon dioxide. Next point. The collection of limestone depositions. The collection of limestone depositions are called as speleothems. There are different types of speleothems. The collection of limestone depositions are called as speleothems, S-P-L-E-O. And the different types of speleothems. Typically, this is a karst topography. The one which, because of dripping waters, the one which grows from below is called as stalactites, stalagmites, stalagmite. The one growing from top is called as stalactite. Remember, it is held tightly to the roof. ऐसे याद रखो, mite और tight में. Dripping water, we call these as drip stones. When they fuse, they form limestone pillars. When they fuse, they form limestone pillars. और जो यहाँ पर deposits हैं, बहुत सारा small powdery deposits होगा. They are called as tufa, calc tufa. Depositions are called as talc tufa. इतना काफी है. What are karst features and what are those formations? और surface, अगर ये surface है, if this is the surface of the land, ये तो underground है. If there are depressions on the surface, we call these as sinkholes. सरफेस में से डिप्रेशन होगा, funnel shaped depressions, they're called as sinkholes. And just know this, that limestone regions can have spectacular landscapes. बहुत सुंदर होता है inside. They can be spectacular landscapes. India में you find it in the Bora Bora caves. Bora Bora caves near Araku Valley. ये नदन आंध्रा ओडिशा बॉर्डर के पास है. BORA, Bora Bora caves, Araku Valley. We have in parts of Bastar. We also have in Meghalaya. Bastar, Meghalaya. वर्ल्ड का सबसे फेमस है okay, along the Adriatic coast again. स्लोवेनिया में है, इंपॉर्टेंट, वेरी फेमस इन स्लोवेनिया. In fact, Karst is the region in Adriatic. Postaina caves, Postajna. J you pronounce as Y. Postajna, Postania caves in Slovenia. We have a Karst region there. Okay, so Karst is an important discussion. Not asked though. Okay, I think I have covered. Acha, by the way, in this geomorphology part, इससे ज़्यादा मत देखना, because if you look at the PYQs, there are not too many questions on geomorphology. 7-8 बताया इतना काफी है, but they have got more questions from climatology and some in oceanography. So climatology, okay, we will do it a bit different way. Now, one suggestion to all of you, now that you are doing all of this, in your NCERT class 11, now I'm presuming that while you were doing your GS, these books should have been covered. नहीं हुआ तो आप आज करना, right? I mean, be done with it. So you have got, those who have not done synopsis, आपको बनाना पड़ेगा, and I'm helping you in synopsis. If you have done it, revise it. And in the class 11th NCERT book, chapter number 3 से लेकर chapter number 7 तक. Okay, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 5 chapter हैं. कुल मिला के it's about 30-35 pages. Okay, and you know most things. You just have to scan through and say, okay, I am done. Okay, so I'll show you the pages here. Oh, this is Just a minute. There you are. So a bit of fast reading होना चाहिए आपका. Interiors of Earth. Okay, if I had time, I would have done it very fast with you guys. But ठीक है, देख लेना. So direct sources क्या हैं of knowing the interiors of Earth, volcanic eruption, ocean drilling. So अपने notes में add these terms. Ocean drilling, indirect sources, meteors हैं, gravitation field, seismic activity. Okay. There are diagrams on P waves. ये सब देखा होगा आपने. Just scan through all of this. Why do we have earthquakes? Structure of Earth. यही आपको कराया मैंने अभी आपको. Layers क्या हैं? Core, volcanic. What are different type of volcanoes? Composite volcano. Features like calderas. Flood basalt as in lava plateaus. What are mores? Okay. So just see through all of this and make it a point to read the questions also end of the page. Okay, so tectonics again. Okay, jigsaw fit क्या है? Okay, the jigsaw fit. There is rocks of same age. There are glacial tillites. Okay, deposits like Ghana में gold deposits and Brazil का बताया था आपको मैंने. The matching here of fossil distributions. Okay, so look this up. What are the major plates of the world? So I'm sure you know all of this. So a quick scan be done along with the last page. Landform mineral chapter छोड़ देना. Page number 5 or you can दो ही page है देख लेना. Chapter 5. Just 2 pages of rocks. State question पूछा है. What are the different type of rocks asked? ठीक है, do that. And this geomorphic processes. Processes which includes okay, erosion, deposition, tectonics, volcanism, chemical weathering. This is a good one to revise, more from the prelims point of view. And this landforms and the evolution. So I have done the Karst part, ये वाला, page number 61. Water caves, limestone pavements, okay, stalactites, stalagmites, and so on. ठीक है? So fine. So we survived. The next class कौन सा day है? I think 15th है. We are shifting that for Saturday. The 15th, in our planning, we made a mistake. Thursday बताया है? नहीं, Thursday तो नहीं हो पाएगा because Thursday I have the. एक बार you all are on the groups, right? Okay, so we'll announce it. I doubt Thursday नहीं होना चाहिए. But Thursday I have a discussion session for geographical test. There is MSP test का होगा. But फिर भी will confirm. If not Thursday, it is on Saturday, Ronak. So reading sessions, I will not take, somebody else will take. The next class, I want to finish climatology and oceanography also. Today I should have finished climatology, but then I think I went a bit slow today. Like I will pick up speed in the next class. Ankit, next class onwards, we'll make it Tuesday and Thursdays. This time Thursday, it is, day off. Fine. Bye-bye. Yes. लिखा है? हाँ, तो विल अरेंज इट. वो अभी से नहीं है, सितंबर से हो.